About Germany, Jordan?
Small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
And welcome to another episode of Rankin. It's going to be a fun episode today. We're going to be talking about Paul Dano movies in honor of Dumb Money coming out this weekend. And we've got a great panel here. Over here we've got Dan. Dan, how's it going?
Oh, it's going all good. You know, we've been slammed with screenings, you name it, last 2 weeks. So I've been doing a lot of trying to do some Halloween watching, try to get some spooky stuff on my channel and my website. But I saw Dumb Money already, and I'm looking forward to talking about Paul Dano.
Also here we've got Chad. Chad, how's it going?
It's going great. There's a few actors that I would say are some of my favorite actors, and Paul Dano is like right up towards the top. So I had to try to get on this one because I haven't seen every single thing he's been in, but I've seen a lot of the big ones, a lot of the ones I think are super noteworthy. So I'm hoping we can get a lot of really good stuff on this list. So yeah, I'm excited.
Also here we've got JPO. JPO, how's it going?
Doing just fine. Yeah, Dano's an interesting actor. Really, he's showing a little bit of range here. You can see a little bit behind Chad's shoulder, physical media. And yeah, looking forward to seeing what makes the list here.
And last but not least, we've got Jordan. Jordan, how's it going?
It's going good. My internet's being a little wonky, so if you see me drop out, I'm just trying to correct that, but it's not too bad. It's doing all right. But yeah, but I'm excited. I haven't seen a ton of Paul Dano movies, but I've seen definitely more than 12, so enough to kind of have some kind of give and take on some of these. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, almost everything I've seen has been great. So it's gonna be hard to say no to like almost anything on this list in my mind. But
yeah, I mean, this is one that I managed to cover up some blind spots myself for it, but with that, how the show works is we're actually going to take turns and nominate a movie we think belongs on the top 12 Paul Dano list, and then at the end we rank the 12 movies that make the short list. Dan, I'm going to go to you first. What is the first movie you're bringing up?
Wow, instead of being last, I'm first. How about that? Because I'm always last, it seems like. Chad, I hope I'm not taking the one you want to take, but this is my favorite one, and it's a movie I love so much. And it's got just not only Paul Dano, but it's got so many other great performances in it. And it's a movie that I came very close to doing a review of, and for whatever reason I didn't do a review. But I'm gonna nominate Little Miss Sunshine. And I know, Chad, you love that one. You got it behind me there, and I'm like, I hope I don't steal Chad's but he's got some other ones you can talk about. But yeah, I love Little Miss Sunshine. I think it's a great movie. It's the movie that really, to me, made. I mean, a lot of people will pick this other movie, something about a milkshake. But me, I like Little Miss Sunshine, and that's the movie to me that really put Paul Dano on the map for me as far as somebody that really meant a lot and somebody I wanted to keep following in his career going forward. Look at this beer. Look at this beer he's drinking.
Yeah, look at that.
Dang it, man. But I'm going with Little Miss Sunshine.
Chug, 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 chug.
Chad, what do you say about Little Miss Sunshine?
Come on, you've seen Beer Fest. Get it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Dan's right. That was going to be the first one I would have brought up, but I'm happy it's the first one that comes up because I do think it is the obvious one. He did movies before it, but I think that's where he fully got on the map where people notice this guy. Holy crap! In this small indie film that got a Best Picture nomination. And to me, because I don't love The Departed, I know a lot of people think I'm crazy, but I would have given it to Sunshine because I just think it's an incredible film. Everybody's on their game in this. It's just a really fun movie, but I think it says a lot too. And I specifically love Paul Dano's part because he's focused. He wants one thing in the world, to be able to be like a fighter pilot or whatever. And something prevents him from doing that, and it's a great scene that you get out of that, and I think it's a really, really great part of the movie. So yeah, Paul Dano's fantastic in this. Definitely Little Miss Sunshine.
JPO, what do you say about Little Miss Sunshine?
Well, if you hadn't nominated it and Chad hadn't nominated it, I would have nominated it. This also would have been my first throw out there as well here. No, man, I'm absolutely charmed by an ensemble. I love the writing in this. I love, it kind of pulls punches you don't see coming. And Dano's really good. It's first time, like kind of Chad said, he kind of really came on my radar. Even though I've seen a couple things like Girl Next Door before, but he kind of blends in. This is where he can stand out in an ensemble cast with Carell, Colette, et cetera, Breslin, of course, also killer. And yeah, silent for a big chunk of it, but then when he finally gets to explode, when that dream is taken away, he's great in that. And overall, it's a great movie. So yeah, definitely would have been my first as well. So I agree.
And Jordan, what do you say about Little Miss Sunshine?
Yeah, I think Little Miss Sunshine's awesome. I once got paid to watch Little Miss Sunshine because I did home health care, and the first time I ever saw it, there's this lady, and for whatever reason, when I came in there to work with her, like she was a new client when I worked in the medical field, and she's like, before we do anything, like before I allow you to do anything, we're watching Little Miss Sunshine. Have you seen it? Do you know what it is? I'm like, no, I don't know what this movie is. And then she's like, all right, we're gonna watch it. And then we watched it, and it was awesome. Like it was really, really good. It's kind of a random way to watch it, but yeah, and Paul Dano's great. Yeah, like just kind of like some of the other guys said, like when he like loses it because he can't do the whole pilot thing and just like freaks out. Before he's just silent and giving everyone the silent treatment and stuff. He's really good, and then just pair him up with like a really awesome cast. Like I really like Alan Arkin in that movie. I think he's really funny, especially when he goes to like dance with Abigail Breslin at the end, and or like teaches her the dance that she does. But
I was gonna say Alan Arkin doesn't make it to the last dance.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but he has a hand in it in some way. But yeah, so it's an easy yes.
Yeah, there's nothing much more I can say about this. Like, it was going to be, if all you guys didn't nominate, I would have nominated it. But yeah, I love Little Miss Sunshine. I think it's great. Pretty much everything everyone said. So yeah, it's going to make the list. Chad, what is the next movie going to bring up?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I legit forgot that I was next up. I'm gonna go with one that I saw not too long ago. I think it's incredible. I think it's a really great Dano performance. I'm gonna go with Love and Mercy. Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's fantastic.
It's good.
Okay, cool. So hopefully it makes it. Yeah, I love this. It's kind of like a dual performance from Dano and John Cusack, because they play the same guy. They play Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys. And I love this movie because I kind of suffer from a similar affliction where it's like misophonia. So you like get like sounds bug the shit out of you, and you get to really see kind of like a lot of the mental hurdles that Brian Wilson has to cross. But sometimes they also make him like a fantastic musician. You get to see all of that, like the stuff that plagues him. Then you get to see also the brilliant music he's able to write, but then also like how hard the music industry is. And if you're not prepared, you might have someone insidious, there to harm you. So yeah, there's a lot of really great stuff in the movie. A lot of great Beach Boys music you get to listen to, which great band that I love. So yeah, Love and Mercy, underrated film because I don't hear a lot of people talk about it, but it's really fantastic.
JPO, what do you say about Love and Mercy?
No, definitely a yes for me as well here. Yeah, I think kind of like Chad said, I think because, I don't know if it's just a smaller release, I think it's finding more and more word of mouth because I feel like I already know 4 of us are going to say yes. I saw a fist bump from Dan. Jordan said it was his next pick. So I think we're all in agreement. It's a really good film. Really unique film, too, because, I think it handles that kind of mental aspect, I think, really well here and shows you the different sides of it. And I think it's one of the last great also Cusack performances that we've seen recently as well. And Paul Giamatti taking advantage, Elizabeth Banks. I think everyone does really good. And it's a good, unique movie that there's not too many, at least personally, I can kind of compare it to. So, big yes.
Jordan, what do you say about Love and Mercy?
Yeah, this is an easy yes because the Beach Boys were the first band that I ever fell in love with as a kid. Like I would like literally like scan, because before streaming and before I didn't have a lot of CDs when I was a kid, I would like just wait and like listen to oldies all day long. Whenever a Beach Boys song came on, I'm like, everybody shut up, this is my song. And like I just like want to crank it up, and yeah, that was when I was probably like, oh gosh, like 7 or 8 years old, something like that. And then my first actual CD from a band I ever had was the Beach Boys' Endless Summer. So and yeah, Paul Dano's awesome too, and like just seeing like how he portrays the Brian Wilson like in the younger years, just like the way you can hear sounds kind of like Chad said, is that like especially like during the Good Vibrations scene where they're like trying to he's like trying to put it all together, and you can hear all the sounds in his head. He has like some acapella, and he has some like all the different instruments. Like it's really cool. So yeah, I think it's a great one. So yes.
Yeah, this is the first time watch for me. Like I watched it for the first time way back when we did the 2014 letter series, which was about what 7 letter series ago. But yeah,
all right.
But yeah, I really loved it. I thought it was a really good movie. Yeah, and like other movies I've seen, there's probably only one that I really don't like that stars Paul Dano, and I don't think it's going to come up anyway. So, but yeah, Love and Mercy is a yes from me. Dan, what do you say about Love and Mercy?
Yeah, man. When I saw this in the theater, I saw a press screening, and I was absolutely blown away by both of the performances of Paul Dano and John Cusack playing these older and younger versions of Brian Wilson, and the fact that he was getting a lot of backlash from people at the time, and he was literally creating probably one of the greatest albums of all, Pet Sounds. Like as the decades have gone on, people have realized that this is one of the greatest albums of all time. And back then it was like, what the hell are you doing? What is this? This isn't Beach Boys music, and that kind of stuff was really powerful for me. As once again, similar to Jordan, my mom and dad, my mom or my dad would pile the kids into the car, and we just take drives all over New England, and we would put stations on the radio, and sometimes it'd be the oldies, sometimes it'd be the Irish station out of Dublin, sometimes it'd be rock and roll from the 80s or the 80s hair, whatever. But I listened to all these Beach Boys songs over and over and over again. So I become a big fan of Beach Boys. And that movie with Paul Dano, I was just like, why aren't we looking like Straight Outta Compton was getting all this love? And I'm saying to myself, why isn't Love and Mercy getting all this love? You know what I mean? And people are like, oh, Paul Giamatti's great in Straight Outta Compton, but he's in this and he's just as nasty a character. And I couldn't figure it out what was going on.
Yeah.
But yes, definitely big yes. Sorry, Malcolm, for the long diatribe, but yes.
But yeah, Love and Mercy is going to make, but the fact that Paul Dano didn't actually get Oscar nominated for this is surprising to me, honestly. Because he was getting love at the Globes and everywhere else that year, because I looked it up just then. But JPO, what is the next movie you're going to bring out?
Okay, I'm going to nominate Tough to Watch sometimes, but I think fantastic. The Prisoners is going to be the next one I'm going to bring up here. Yeah, man, just, I think the only kind of knock the movie can have is, some people do think, kind of it does go too far with, Dano's character, who maybe, have his issues and what Hugh Jackman might do. But I think that's the horrific tale of what people go to find out, what happened to their loved ones here, man. And it's a great, mystery thriller tale. I think Hugh Jackman, maybe his best performance here as well. Jake Gyllenhaal, of course, as well. And even in the ending, I really enjoy. And yeah, it's a tough watch, but it's enthralling. I think it's a fantastic film, Prisoners.
Jordan, what do you say about Prisoners?
Yeah, so I absolutely love Prisoners. This movie's in my 128. It's great, and it's a movie that I saw 3 times in theaters when it came out, because I kept finding people who hadn't seen it, and that's what I love to do, like find people who haven't seen these great movies and just drag them to the theater to go see them. And Paul Dano playing like a severely mentally challenged guy that they thought maybe kidnapped Hugh Jackman's daughter. And yeah, like another movie that I wonder why it didn't get more Oscar attention was Prisoners, because I think that it should have, but because it was just really good, blew me away, and yeah, so it's an easy yes.
Yeah. I really like Prisoners. I think it's great. I'm not gonna lie. This is one I completely forgot Paul Dano was in personally. But I like the movie, so I'm gonna say yes to it. So, Dan, what do you say about Prisoners?
Because he disappears into the role. That's why you forget he's in there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. When I saw this, I was just absolutely blown away. Another Roger Deakins cinematography, which is different than so many other of his movies. The cinematography, the way he does it, and just the rain and the damp and the dark and the moody kind of cinematography, which you don't see a lot. And I love when a director and a cinematographer can get that right in a movie. But Paul Dano he's so good at playing creepy, and we're going to see another movie where he plays creepy. And I think he might have been kind of pulling from this performance from Prisoners, where he's just so good at being creepy. He's one of the best actors at being a creepy character, and that's why he's so good in this role. And I like the movie as a whole as well. I mean, just what an interesting group of actors to be in. Hugh Jackman, Viola Davis, Terrence Howard. I mean, what an interesting grouping of actors. You wouldn't have think these actors would go together, but they all do a great job together. Was it Idris Elba, right?
Mm-mm.
Now, who is it? Who's all right? Who's Hugh Jackman's wife? Then my bad. It's Terrence Howard.
Miss Leo.
Who?
No, Melissa Leo's Dano's mother.
Yeah.
Maria Bello.
Maria Bello.
There
That's
you
who.
go.
Yeah.
Wait, did you say Idris Elba as his wife? I'm so confused.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No, I knew it was Terrence Howard
Like,
and
whoa.
Viola Davis, but I forgot who was
Totally different movie.
Yeah. But
You said Idris Elba.
No, I thought he was Viola Davis' wife, husband somehow. For some reason.
Oh, okay.
It was Terrence Howard. It was Terrence Howard.
Yeah, Terrence Howard.
It's a good ensemble. Yeah.
But anyway, Chad, what do you say about Prisoners?
Yeah. If anybody knows me and heard me talk about this movie, this is one of my favorite movies ever. The only reason I didn't bring this one up instead of Love and Mercy is because I didn't know how much love there was for Love and Mercy, or if a lot of people had seen it. So I wanted to make sure that I got that one in like really early before it starts to close. But yeah, Prisoners, I absolutely adore. I'm so glad Jordan brought it up. I knew it was going to come up just because, he does, just like the other Jordan said, he does disappear into this role. And it's so creepy. Another creepy role in this that no one mentioned is David Dastmalchian, unless I missed it. He's fantastic. Roles, and he's been a Denis Villeneuve mainstay ever since. And I know Denis has only gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And now we're like, Dune 2, it's huge. But like, I love some of his smaller films like Arrival and Prisoners. So Prisoners is a fantastic thriller. I'm glad Dan brought up the stuff about Deakins cinematography, because this is a beautiful looking movie. It's a very haunting movie. It kind of pushes the limits of, okay, your daughter's kidnapped. What do? Do you take matters into your own hands, or do you let the cops take care of it? Kind of a deal. So you're like, trying to figure out what's going to happen. You're also trying to figure out who did it, because, David Dastmalchian's acting all fishy. You got Paul Dano, who is kind of, he's like I said, is mentally challenged, but it's like,
he's driving around in a van and parking at us.
The way he acts is very sus. So, it's a lot going on, and it's a very good movie. I love how they use like the puzzle imagery and stuff like that. Yeah, this movie's fantastic. I could talk about it for a very long time, but and like Jordan said when he first brought it up, it's a very brutal movie, very hard to watch at times, but I think that's why it's so effective. And you probably have strong feelings about this movie if you've seen it. Check it out if you haven't. I love it.
Yeah, and last thing I will say is Paul Dano's supposedly been in a few movies of Jake Gyllenhaal. I've noticed have gone down, but
a few,
But Jordan, was the next movie you're going to bring up?
So, first of all, I have to ask: did any of you guys see Dumb Money? Because I saw it, but I don't think
It's not
okay,
out in
that's
New
where
Zealand
my
yet.
We need three
little
votes.
name on there. The
Chad,
roaring
you see it?
right there. Yeah.
No,
Anyway,
that's 3 and unseen, so it's not gonna work.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
work, Jordan. I didn't know if I should ask that, Jordan. Jordan, I swear,
not my
I think
pick, though.
is that a no-go? Are you not allowed to do that? So I didn't know if I was supposed to
Yeah,
ask.
right.
I was going to do that exactly what you did. And
well, the
then,
main reason why I wanted to do it, just to explain what I wrote down there, the Roaring Kitty.
Malcolm's like, you
Dumb
sons
Money.
of bitches.
Yeah,
okay.
but the one I want to bring up though is actually There Will Be Blood. So because I saw There Will Be Blood for the first time for this, so I was very late to it. Like I just watched it today, actually this morning, and I'd seen the first like 10 minutes before, but then I got busy and didn't get a chance to get back to it. And holy crap, is this movie incredible? This movie like just blew me away. It's so good. Just the performances and like Paul Dano going toe to toe with Daniel Day-Lewis playing Paul Sunday. It's just like so good. Like the really just fanatic and trying to like drive evil spirits out and like just like I don't know, like it's just a really interesting character. And then Daniel Day-Lewis too. I mean, just like talking about slitting people's throats because they want to try to take his oil and like all that stuff. It's just like really good. And yeah, like I kind of wish I didn't wait so long to watch it, but it was like one of the best first time watches I've ever had. So yeah, I got to go with There Will Be Blood.
Yeah. I'm not that on There Will Be Blood, but I do think it's a really good movie. And it's definitely a great like performances from Daniel Day-Lewis and Paul Dano easily. And yeah, I just think it's a really well-made movie. So it's an easy yes for me. Dan, what do you say about There Will Be Blood?
Look, I will tell you this. I saw it when it came out in 2007 with a buddy of mine. We both walked out. We said, "What the hell was that?" And I don't hate the movie. I'm not the biggest fan of it. But that being said, I do believe Paul Dano does a great job in the movie, especially acting opposite the greatest actor, quote unquote, of all time. I mean, I'd say Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, but a lot of people say Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yep.
So for that reason,
I'm more of a Schneider guy, but
Yeah.
For that reason, I do say yes. And I anticipated somebody was going to bring this up, and I anticipated having to explain the fact that I'm not the biggest fan of There Will Be Blood, but I don't take anything away from what Paul Dano did in that movie because he was fantastic, and so it is a yes for me.
Chad, what do you say about There Will Be Blood?
Dan is to There Will Be Blood like I am to The Departed, I guess, where it's like everyone else is like, oh, this is the best thing I've ever seen. But anyways, no, I actually do really like There Will Be Blood. That Oscar year was pretty great. Because you had
did win was the movie that should have won.
Okay, you sure? Yeah, probably. You have No Country, which won. You have Juno, Michael Clayton, and There Will Be Blood, and Atonement. I love all of those except for Atonement, but yeah, There Will Be Blood was like really close to making it for me, and I ended up going Michael Clayton, but which is a lot of people say that's insane, but I do think There Will Be Blood is a fantastic movie. I do love Paul Dano in it, and Daniel Day-Lewis disappears in that role as he always does, basically, and it's one of those where it does show like the how like a oil tycoon or whatever can basically forget everything except for the money and the success and just this obsession of this is my empire and things like that. I guess you can like see a little bit of Breaking Bad in there and stuff like that with it, and kind of forgetting a little bit about like what matters most in your family and things like that. But yeah, Paul Dano going toe to toe with this guy. This is the movie that you go, okay, Paul Dano's like the real deal. Like, he's great in Little Miss Sunshine, Prisoner, stuff like that. But when you see him in There Will Be Blood, like pretty early on, you're like, shit, dude. Okay, this guy's gonna go all the way. And it's weird he doesn't have an Oscar yet. He really needs one.
How old is this dude? He'll get there.
He'll
Yeah.
get there, but I'm just saying, like, look at the amount of stuff that he's come up with that is actually kind of worthy. So yeah, but anyways, he's great in it. I do think it's a great Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I'm a big fan of his too, that director. Yeah, this is a pretty great epic. Love it. Yes.
And JPO, what do you say about There'll Be Blood?
No, funny enough, I'm actually slightly with Dan as far as it's not my favorite movie. It's not something I'm as high on as I think some others are. But does it belong in this list? Absolutely. It's still probably in the first several films here. And then kind of like Chad said too, that's kind of my thought is like this is 1 year after Little Miss Sunshine. So like Little Miss Sunshine, you're like, all right, this kid's pretty good. He's got something. And then after There Will Be Blood, you're like, never mind, no more doubts. He's got something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he ran, he walked there, he ran here, and now you're like, all right, cool. Now I'm sold on this kid. So yeah, I mean, and like I said, I think some of the moments are better than the overall movie, but no, it's still definitely worthy of being on this list. So yeah, yes.
And he's only 39 years old, so we could get like another like potentially 40 more years of him.
He looks young.
Stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he looks young. He could play at 20-something.
Yeah, right.
He could still easily be 20. Yeah.
Like Tom Cruise, he fucking never aged. This guy is not aging.
Yep, exactly. It's like Paul Rudd.
Yeah, I mean, but that There'll Be Blood makes the list, and I'm going to move on to a movie where he was really young, and because this was 2 years before Little Miss Sunshine. I don't know how this is going to go, but I know Stephen Shepard will be glad it's actually at least being talked about, and it's The Girl Next Door. Look, I think this, like, he's only a relatively small role in this, but he's very good in it. And yeah, I think the movie itself is actually fairly underrated. I think this is one that I think is a lot of fun, and it has a lot of comedy. Like, I rewatched this yesterday and had a lot of joy in it. And yeah, like Paul Dano plays one of Emil Hirsch's friends. I think it's Klitz or something like that. But it's just that little bit at the end where with the porn zone there, I think is just so good, and I really like this movie. So Dan, what do you say about The Girl Next Door?
Look, I watched The Girl Next Door a long time ago, Malcolm, and I liked what I watched. I just don't remember Paul Dano in The Girl Next Door. And with you talking about it, it brought it back up a little bit. But I just don't think you can nominate something like that when he's not the main guy, and he's not like the guy that's going kind of messing around with the girl next door and all that kind of stuff. He's like a supporting character type of thing. You guys could all vote for it, and I wouldn't be upset. I don't think I'm going to vote for it. That's just me, Malcolm.
Chad, what do you say about The Girl Next Door?
I think I am a little bit more on Dan's wavelength here. I haven't seen it since it like came out. Not a huge fan of sex comedies just in general. It's just not really my thing. I do remember kind of liking the movie, but when I do think about this movie, I remember Emil Hirsch, Alicia Cuthbert, and Chris Marquette actually, I think stands out a lot. Yeah. But I don't remember Paul Dano that much, except for just being kind of like a high school nerd. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if I check this out, he does have more of a memorable part that I'm just not remembering the movie that much. So, and that aside, even if he was a little bit more memorable, I'm not sure if I love this movie enough to put it in the top 12, but let's see if it still makes it. I'll say a slight no.
JPO, what do you say about The Girl Next Door?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to be a no as well on both levels here because like I said, this came out, before Little Miss Sunshine, and it wasn't until a rewatch, and I saw it before Little Miss Sunshine, like when it came out. It wasn't until a rewatch a few years ago that I even went, oh shit, Dano's in this. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't, he didn't totally stand out as somebody that I remember. Plus, also, I have it at 17 on my list. It's also just not the movie that I like that much. It has its moments, but it's kind of a mixed bag movie for me. So,
and Jordan, what would you have said about The Girl Next Door?
I actually would have said yes. Like, I actually really like The Girl Next Door because, like, it's not just your typical sex comedy. They go on like a journey to like find this girl that that Emil Hirsch's character has like a big crush on from next door, and they like the whole the whole thing of their friends. It's kind of like a sex comedy that's a little deeper than other ones, but it's and also I mentioned in our group chat before one of the shows, I have a hard time saying no to the ones that I've seen, but the thing is there's the little chunk of movies I haven't seen, so most of the ones that I have seen, I'm probably going to say yes to almost all of them. So I would say yes to that. So yeah.
But with that, it doesn't make the list. Dan, we go back to you.
Well, I have two that I really want, but I think one of them someone's going to bring up, and I want to just bring this one up because, as Chad well knows, it's my favorite movie of the year in 2013, and I love talking about it. So I'm going to talk about this movie. You can hear Chad's opinion on my favorite movie of 2013 on October 20th, My Life, My Love, 50 Years in Film, where Chad and myself and Dylan discuss my favorite films from that 10-year group of films. So to plug that, I'm going to nominate 12 Years a Slave. I think that everybody knows him from Michael Fassbender, and he's such this nasty character. But I remember when they were, True Tale Ejiofor is over there. He's like building the house and put the clavrets on. You bleep, 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 bleep. Put the clavrets. You're putting the clavrets on wrong. You're building this house wrong. And he's such a nasty character when it comes to the clavrets, or what we would call boards, wooden boards. And he gets his comeuppance, which is what I like by the end of the movie. But 12 Years a Slave is one of my favorite movies of all time. It was my number one movie of 2013, and I think he's a nasty character in it. And so I gotta bring up 12 Years a Slave.
Chad, what do you think about 12 Years a Slave?
Yeah, it's a great film. I also discussed it over on Picture This, over on the Dill Pickle Movie Network. We discussed it in the 2013 Best Picture slate. It won Best Picture, and I believe it won our Picture This episode as well. I can't remember. I think it did, because I know Dylan also loves that movie. But yeah, it's very rare that you get to see a film of this type made by a Black filmmaker. And I think because of that, it makes this film unique, where you see a lot of movies about slavery and that time. But this one, you get to see it, and it's so harrowing. You never once forget just how terrible that time was, terrible slavery is, just, in general. And then you get characters like Michael Fassbender's character, who is, just a monster. And then Paul Dano, who's also just a monster. And he is
Carpenter,
just going insane, and just yelling and stuff like that. I just really think, he's channeled something great there as well. It's a very hard movie to watch. It'll make you cry. It'll make you, just mad that stuff like that ever happened. And, if you watched it and said, I only want to ever watch that once, I won't blame you, because it's a very, very tough watch, but it's a very, very great movie. And I do say everyone should watch it at least once, but, does it deserve to be on the list? Yes, it does. It's a great movie.
JPO, what do you say about 12 Years a Slave?
Yeah, this and Prisoners in the same year. It's a hard year to like Paul Dano.
Yeah.
What a tough double, Pete. I think if you ran into him 10 minutes on the street after watching this movie, you'd probably be like, get away from me. Because, you do believe him. He's such a shitbird in this movie here. But no, it absolutely belongs on the list as well here. Again, slightly smaller role, but I think, again, it does stand out. And also, it's a great film. I agree. It's a great film, one of the best of the year. Definitely is top 10 for me, if not top 5. So, yeah, deserves to be on the list.
He's like pounding on something. I don't know. I'm hearing something. But
Malcolm's making sure he knows it's on the list.
Yeah. But
my microphone picks up my keyboard. So,
okay. I was gonna say, like, he's there wagging his tail back and forth. So 12 Years a Slave. It's a movie that I've only seen it one time because it is so hard to watch. Like, I'm like kind of nervous to go back to it. I do want to watch it again someday, but it's just just really hard. Like the way that some of these slaves are just treated, and you got people like Michael Fassbender and Paul Dano that are just like really just like kind of like evil bastards and just like really brutal but he gives a great performance, and I think that's one that definitely deserves a spot. So I'll just say that. But I am due for a rewatch probably soon. So yeah.
Yeah, I've only seen 12 Years a Slave the one time. I watched it when we did the 2013 letter series. But yeah, it's really good. It's going to be yes for me, so it's going to make the list. And we move over to Chad.
Oh shit, that's right. I am next. I wasn't prepared. I should have been prepared.
Be prepared.
I'm
Actually, heard Jim Cummings sing that song "Be Prepared" at Salt Lake Fan because he sang it. Fun fact, anyways, that's a weird thing.
Yep. I'm gonna go with a movie that I actually don't know how many people have seen. So let's see. I'm gonna go with Ruby Sparks. This is a movie that I randomly heard of, but here's why I really like it is because I think it's got a very interesting look on like romance and how like a person can use someone for their own ends, but not really engage with how they see that person just in as a person with value on their own. I think it's a really interesting movie. It was actually written by Zoe Kazan, who is married to Paul Dano. And I love it when they have like their little kind of like creative team where they'll write movies together sometimes, or she'll write a movie, he'll star in it, kind of a deal. And I love seeing them on screen together and playing her story out that I think is really interesting. It's a little movie that I wish people would see more because it's kind of a cute little romantic movie with some interesting themes in it. So yeah, I'll go Ruby Sparks here and see how this goes.
JPO, what do you say about Ruby Sparks?
Absolutely yes for me as well here. Another reason why I like Paul Dano, because again, this is a fun, like way lighter rom-com side of his. I either forgot or didn't know he was married to Zoe Kazan, so it explains why the chemistry is good, because you really do like these two together in this film here. And on top of it just being a rom-com too, there is a unique twist to it as well if you've seen the trailer and know the story. So but yeah, no, I agree that like it was kind of a little underseen, but yeah, I was really charmed by this movie here. So yeah, this is definitely on my list as well.
Jordan, what do you say about Ruby Sparks?
I will say that Ruby Sparks is a blind spot. I have not seen it, so unfortunately I can't say yes. So I'll say no.
But yeah, I love Ruby Sparks. I think it's a great movie. It's actually on Disney Plus for me over here. And yeah, I think it's just a really sweet rom-com, and I think it definitely shows a very different side of Paul Dano that we've already talked about in several movies already. So that's a yes to me. Dan, what do you say about Ruby Sparks?
Well, I'll tell you, I know I've seen Ruby Sparks. I just don't remember it that well. It just doesn't stick with me that well. So I don't remember anything about this movie, and for that reason I have to say no, but it's already in, so I'm glad. I did not want to be the final vote to where, well, I don't remember this movie, but I know I saw it and I just don't remember it, and I have to vote no because I don't remember. That would have been terrible. So I'm glad, Malcolm, you voted yes and you like it and you guys all like it, because I would have felt really bad about that.
But that Ruby Sparks does make the list, and we go over to JPO.
All right, bit of a co-starring role here, but it's a fantastic film brought to you by a director that sometimes some people are a little polarized. I think he hasn't made a bad film yet. Looper, I definitely got to throw out there as a possibility here. Yeah, again, I think it's just a great little time travel movie in a way, not time travel, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
JGL's great. Willis, I think, is another one of his last kind of great. You can tell he's kind of invested in it for once. And yeah, even Paul Dano is he's a really good setup in the movie too. He kind of explains how he doesn't kill his older self and how they're coming after him, and the way his character ends is very interesting as well. And overall, really great flick. Looper.
Jordan, what do you say about Looper?
So I've seen Looper, but for some reason I don't remember Paul Dano in it that much. But I've only seen it twice though, so I'm probably due for a rewatch. But I mean, even so, the movie's really, really good though. I love the movie, and even though we are talking about Paul Dano, I think on the next watch I'm really gonna watch out for his character more, because just to kind of pay more attention to some of these other side characters. But even so, the movie's that good to me compared to what else we have on the list. I'll still give it a yes though. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm personally not a big fan of Looper. Yeah, I also don't really remember Paul Dano in it, so I'm going to say no to it. Dan, what do you say about Looper?
I mean, I love Looper. I think Looper's fantastic. The visual effects on how they make Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt look like each other is incredible, and it's really a great time travel movie and stuff like that. But like Jordan and Malcolm, I don't remember Paul Dano.
We're voting on just his movies, not his performance. Let's not forget that, guys.
Yeah, I remember the person that's in the movie, and I don't remember him in the movie.
He's in it though.
But I will say, Jordan, I will say this, Jordan. I like the movie enough to where I will vote for it just because I like the movie enough. But honestly, I really am being serious. I don't remember.
Oh, that's fine. He doesn't last that long.
Okay. So we're voting on a movie that the guy's barely in. Okay, all right.
Yeah, well,
it deserves to be on the list though.
Be prepared for 12.
For me, just translates to saying yes, but maybe when it comes to voting at the end, it might not be as high. So.
Yeah, number 12 for me, probably.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, even if Dan said no, it would have come down to Chad. So, Chad, what do you say about Looper?
Oh, there you go.
I say yes to Looper.
Jordan said yes, so it was in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan
yes,
and me both said yes, even though.
Well, that's what I said. If Dan said no, it would have fell down.
Yeah,
right. Well, that's why I was trying to convince Dan. That way I didn't have to worry about Chad.
You wouldn't have had to worry. I would have said yes. The thing about it is, he's not in it a ton, but I mean, it's he's still in it, and he's still he's not a cameo. He's still a supporting.
No, and he's an important part of showing what can happen if you don't fucking follow the rules too.
And
it's a pivotal part.
I have to rewatch it. I have the 4K. I have to rewatch it. I'm gonna rewatch.
I also have the 4K.
He's kind of like a Joseph Gordon-Levitt's friend or acquaintance at least.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, he's in it. He's good in it. And I just think it's a great movie. I agree with Jordan. I do think Ryan Johnson has not missed yet, and I do think this is a really, really great movie.
Obviously, it's not. Well, maybe it is. Actually.
It's it's a really fun time travel, but also the stuff with the kid and all the effects are just so incredible. I love how they use the time travel aspect in it, and the older younger self thing dynamic between Bruce and JGL is pretty great. Yeah, so this is a very interesting movie. Emily Blunt is fantastic in it as well.
Blunt.
Oh yeah.
So Looper's great. I need to rewatch this one soon because it's really cool.
Shout out for Blunt. Yeah.
But if that Looper's going to make the list, and Jordan, we go to you for your next nomination.
Yeah, so I want to go with one. I didn't want to wait too long to bring this one up because I hope most of you have seen it, but we'll see. But I want to bring up Oakjaw. So, and I'm a big fan of, and I always messed up his name, Bong Joon-ho. I think I got it right.
That's
So, yeah,
You nailed it.
And it was a movie that just an anime it brought to life. For me, I'm not a big anime fan, but if you bring it into live action, you do it right. It just really, really works. I think this movie's really, really good, and it's a really sweet tale at the heart of it. It's essentially like a girl and her dog, but the dog's a big kind of hippo, kind of like weird looking creature. Yeah, the hippo pig thing. But yeah, and then they start hunting this animal, and then Paul Dano's kind of the guy that kind of helps to like try to reunite them back together, and then they it's got a really good cast. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal, Tilda Swinton, Giancarlo Esposito, Stephen Ewan. So it's. Then they have like besides like the main like they got some recognizable stars, and they have mostly like an Asian cast beyond that, and it's kind of cool how they do it, and it's a really sweet story. Like the music's really great. There's parts where I get like pretty emotional in this movie that I didn't expect to, and yeah, like it's just really good. So I'll shoot my shot for Okja.
Yeah, this is a movie I actually watched for the first time for this because for the longest time I not seen it. It's just one of those ones like I know it's a Netflix movie. I'll watch it eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad I find it. I'm glad I finally had a chance to watch it. It's a sweet story. Like I'm not that over the moon about it, but I like it enough that I'll happily say yes to it. Dan, what do you say about Okja?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the ballpark of Malcolm here. I loved it when I first saw this movie. I mean, I absolutely loved it. I saw it when it came out in theaters because they had a qualifying run to try to push it for maybe some awards before it went to Netflix. And I absolutely love it. I mean, it's just such an interesting movie. I think you're right though, Jordan. It's a live action movie, but probably it should have been like a Miyazaki kind of movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
exactly. But it's a live action movie. You're like, but he also did the one with the sea creature, whatever that one was, right?
The Host.
Yeah, the host. Yeah, that movie.
That one too. That was a wild one too, right? Was that Bone Juno?
Yeah.
And so he's done some interesting movies like that where he goes back and forth between different types of genres, that. But yeah, I love Paul Dano in this. Jake Gyllenhaal is fantastic in this. This is such a sweet movie. I mean, if you don't like this movie, you just don't have a heart. I'm voting yes.
Yeah.
Chad, what do you say about Okja?
Chad hates
Chad does
that. If only. Yeah, Okja's interesting because it's very so Okja's kind of like how Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is, where it's like it's very hard to watch if you like just really love animals and like Dan said, had to have a heart, and you just really care about like how animals are treated humanely and stuff like that. So it has a lot of great messaging for that. I feel like PETA or whatever would probably say it's a great movie because it exposes what happens in the food industry and how animals are treated terribly. But it also is very hard to watch if you love animals because you have characters who don't and they treat animals horribly, and actually like they show like a slaughterhouse or whatever at one point. It's just like, for me, there's entire scenes if I rewatch this I'm gonna have to skip. But that being said, I do think it was a great movie. I love that Paul Dano was like a member of like this renegade, like we're gonna shut all this stuff down kind of a thing. And that was pretty great.
It's a fun character.
The visual effects in it are great, and I just love Bong Joon-ho. He's just a fantastic filmmaker. I think one of the greats, especially after Parasite came out. I don't think you can really doubt him as a filmmaker these days. Yeah, love it. Snowpiercer, The Host. There's a lot more he has, like Memories of a Murder that I still haven't seen that I need to check out.
Oh, yes.
I have on Criterion. So, yeah, he's a great filmmaker, and I do think this is definitely one that kind of just dropped on Netflix. I might have to get the Criterion, but because it's so harrowing, I just didn't know if I wanted to rewatch it anytime soon.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'd say yes to it for the list. Yeah.
JPO, what do you say about Okja?
Didn't see it. Yeah, this is my biggest blind spot for him. So yeah.
But that Okja is still going to make the list. But I'm going to go for a movie he probably should have been nominated for an Oscar, especially over one of his co-stars who was nominated in the category he would have been nominated in, and that's last year's The Fabelmans. I think Paul Dano is really great as Steven Spielberg's father, and and I think the performance, like he does a really good job in this movie, and I think he definitely should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor over Judd Hirsch, who was only like one scene,
Yeah, that's kind of
Terrible.
but I mean, but
Terrible judgment.
well, I mean, look, those who speak to Judd Hirsch, like I think his one scene was good. I think like that, but I think Paul Dano, like over the whole movie, I think did a better job. I would have seen either both of them nominated or Paul Dano nominated.
Yes.
But yeah, but I think The Fabelmans is just a great movie. It was my favorite movie last year. But Dan, what do you say about The Fabelmans?
Oh yeah, I love the Fableman. A buddy of I think a buddy of ours, Dylan, absolutely loves this movie, like ridiculously loves this movie. I believe I think we've had him on Gone with the Wind a couple times last season, and he was like raving about the Fablemans. I love this movie. I think he's great as the father figure, trying to provide for his family, try to get a better job, get promotions, but also try to be there for his son and realize that his son wasn't doing a hobby. It wasn't a hobby. It was going to be his son's life. And he embraced that part about what his son wanted to become. And I love that. I think he was fantastic in the movie. I think it's travesty that Judd Hirsch gets in there and he doesn't get in there. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? That's ridiculous. Paul Dano didn't get in for that movie. I mean, it's terrible. This guy should have already had an Oscar nomination by now in his bio on IMDb or Google or wherever the hell you look up people. This is ridiculous. Big yes for me.
Chad, what do you say about The Fabelmans?
Yeah, I'm another person that loves the Fablemans. You know, Dylan and I on Picture This were like loving on this movie, and I've been telling him to actually do like a video essay of the movie and just like explain why this movie's so fantastic. And it's just sad because I know everybody loved stuff like Everything Everywhere, and it's just a really great year for film that the Fablemans even still got kind of lost in the shuffle. And I'm like, this is a better movie than people like actually give it credit for. And like, not a lot of people maybe went to see it or something like that. So I'm hoping like it gets like a resurgence at some point. We don't have a Spielberg Criterion. Maybe they'll release one of that or something like that down the line.
Universal. There's a 4K already.
Gotcha. So yeah. So, but anyways, I did love this movie. I love like it's how about like Spielberg's life and stuff like that. And Paul Dano plays his dad, and we know from Spielberg's entire filmography that he had a lot of family issues with his father. And Paul Dano really plays into that, and so does Michelle Williams. And I think that's just a lot of great acting. Like even Judd Hirsch, who didn't who got the love over Paul Dano, was really great. But I guess I kind of agree that give it to the one that's more of a substantial performance, even though Judd Hirsch was great in his like one scene. But yeah, Paul Dano's fantastic in it, and I love this movie. I would say absolutely 100% yes.
JPO, what do you say about The Fabelmans?
Yeah, I'm not quite in love, but I really do like the movie here. I think it has a lot of good moments in it as well, and something I actually wouldn't mind rewatching again with some time given. And Daniel's really good too. He walks a really fine line because it's an interesting story and tale with his character. Like even there's like the tale of the daughter who's like, "Why aren't you more mad?" Because he does have love for Michelle Williams, even though things aren't working out, and like he's not spiteful, and it's an interesting role. And overall, pretty good movie that does deserve to be here. So yes.
And Jordan, what do you say about The Fabelmans?
So, what I can say is that objectively, I think that it's a good movie. Personally, I think this movie's trash. I don't like it. I can't stand it. I just do not like The Fabelmans, especially Michelle Williams' character, just a blubbering effing moron that it just like
that's right. You hate that
the whole entire time, and it's just like the way that she plays the character. Maybe it's like true to like how Spielberg's mom was. I don't know, but like it just like annoyed the living hell out of me. And I couldn't take it to the point where I almost I turned the movie off. I just couldn't take it. But the only thing is, like, Paul Dano, I will say, is probably the best part of the movie for me, though. I do like like his character, but overall the movie just I don't know, like the Oscars have a hard on for movies about the industry, and I'm just like I don't really get it. I mean I do get it sort of, but I kind of wish they wouldn't so much. but yeah, so I'm just not a huge fan, but I get why it's there, and I get why like objectively take all my personal feelings out that why everybody really likes this movie and why it probably deserved to be here. But personally, I just got to say no.
I mean, the one thing I will say is like I don't think this is so like. Well, yes, it's about making movies and that. It's not really completely about the industry either. So
Yeah, it's about
Family
the
drama.
filmmaking and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah, if that the Fablemans is still going to make the list. Dan, we go back to you for your next nomination.
Well, you guys left me a major one here, and I could easily pick it, but I'm hoping one of you guys will pick it. A massive one you guys left me, which I was like, wow, this has lasted this long without my third pick. But I'm going to hope one of you guys pick it, and I'm going to go with a lesser one because I just want to champion this film because it kind of has more of a like a place in my heart when I felt it because it reminds me of myself and my father. A lot of talking about fathers again. It's called Being Flynn, and it's about a guy by the name of Nick Flynn who's a struggling writer, and he's kind of treading his wheels in his life, and his father who's really struggling. He's an elderly gentleman who's financially he's got issues. He's got problems with his paying his bills and stuff. So he reaches out to his son, he's kind of estranged from, to try to help him out, and that helps his son get a little bit more kind of give him a little bit of direction in his life, knowing that he's trying to help his father. That his father disappears, and he had no idea where he was. It turns out his father's in a homeless shelter, and it's really my father's 85 years old, and he calls me once or twice a day, and sometimes I can't talk to him, and I'm kind of a writer, and I'm treading my wheels a little bit, and my father, he's up there in age, and he's having, like right now, he's been having car problems and stuff. And this relationship between Nick Flynn and Jonathan Flynn and Being Flynn really resonates with me. And I like the fact that even though they were kind of estranged, which is I'm kind of a bit estranged with my father. I had a rough life with my father, and and with Robert De Niro playing the father figure and Paul Dano playing opposite, I just think they're just fantastic together in this movie. And I know it's probably a movie that a lot of people haven't seen, but this resonated with me and I was one of the big champions of this movie when it was coming out. I was telling anybody, you got to see Being Flynn. You got to see this. This is an incredible movie. I don't know how many people have seen it, but I could have took the easy one and took the massive movie. Instead, I decided to go with this smaller indie movie that maybe some people haven't seen. So let one of you guys pick the big one.
Chad, what do you say about Being Flynn?
Yeah, no, I feel so bad. This is one I haven't seen, and it's one that I really want to because I just was looking it up as Dan was talking about it. And now I'm like, shit, I really want to see this movie. And De Niro and Dano, I think that's an interesting combo just in general. And honestly, I've never seen a Paul Dano movie and performance that I just haven't liked. So I definitely want to check this out. I really can't give it a blind guess because I haven't heard much about it other than Dan's take. So, but this is one I'm going to try to watch when I'm not deep into horror season, Halloween season. So,
JPO, what do you say about Being Flynn?
We'll have some hope yet, Dan. I'm gonna give this a yes as well here. No, I do. I like this film. I dig it. It's towards the end of the list, but I do like it, and he's also at the forefront of it too. So I think it does deserve to be on this list. And no, yeah, it's a good tale. Like I said, it's also a good writer's tale as well. Something that's I think sometimes hard to translate to screen, but they do a good job with it here, and I like the pairing of these two. I mean, you said before, De Niro, one of the greats, and Dano's fantastic. So yeah, this is good.
Jordan, what do you say about Being Flynn?
Well, I have never seen it. I never even heard of it till you said the word. I'm like, what's that movie? Like, I overlooked something on IMDb. That's why like I look back to like scroll. I'm like, oh yeah, I like scrolled right past that one.
Like,
So
are they making this up?
yeah, right. Like, yeah, you're just trying to like throw a curveball at us, but yeah, but looks like a really good movie, like a good cast. Like throw Julianne Moore in there and Olivia Trilby. I think that's how you say
Trilby.
it, but or Trilby, yeah. So yeah, so that's one that I definitely want to check out, but I haven't seen it, so I gotta say no, bro.
Yeah, this sounds like a really good movie. I haven't seen it, unfortunately.
Sounds good.
And if you had brought it up earlier, I might have given it a blind yes, but we've only got 3 spots left, and there's a few bigger ones that still haven't come up yet. So I'm going to sadly say no to it. But
Perfectly
Chad,
perfectly justifiable. I didn't expect you guys to have seen it. It's just one of those ones that I really like a lot. So there you go.
Yeah.
Check your
Yeah,
Dollar
no,
Tree.
well-
I bought it one time. It was at the Dollar Tree.
well,
Nice.
I mean, as I always say, like sometimes bringing out movies people might not have seen is always a good way of doing it because it gives it more notice anyway.
right.
Just talking about it, but anyway, Chad as he knocks the line down all his Dano DVDs.
What's he
The
gonna
next movie
pick?
you're going to bring up?
Yeah.
I'm not going to bring up like one of the bigger ones that Dan's probably referring to. I'm going to bring up something that we actually discussed in the chat: Wildlife.
Ah,
Because we said this is eligible, and I do think it should be because it's Paul Dano's directorial debut, and I think he did a fantastic job. I'm like, for a debut of like an actor like this is a fantastic movie. I think it was co-written by Zoe Kazan, so that's like it's like a marital like team here, and they made this movie. It's not starring either of them. Neither of them are in this movie. It stars Ed Oxenborough as like the main character. He's like the kid of Carey Mulligan and Jake Gyllenhaal, and there's just a lot of stuff about family and family dynamics. It's very similar to the Fablemans, actually, kind of, and having this like, and also kind of marriage story
You
where
just
it's
lost
like,
Jordan.
like a marriage
Yeah,
kind of,
right.
falling
I'm out.
apart and stuff like that. Jordan, the other Jordan is not going to be into it, I'm sure. But I do have it on Criterion. I do think it's a fantastic movie, like well shot and everything with it. So I really thought this was pretty great, and I realized this is one that not a lot of people talk about. But that's why I'm bringing it up, because I, just like being Flynn, it's something that I want to highlight because I'm like, Dano kind of needs to direct more because he made a movie that got in the Criterion. That's impressive as hell. Check it out. Like I said, it's got Jake Gyllenhaal in it. They're, I guess, good friends. Fantastic movie,
Apparently.
and not one that maybe a lot of people have seen. So please check it out, even if it doesn't make it on the list. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean, just before I move over to JP, before anyone else out of chat, like I've never once, like whenever I do an extra filmography, I've never once said that directed movies are not eligible. No one's ever thought of asking me.
Yeah, I assume.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's just one of those things. It's like, and especially with Dano, like, because when I made my list on Letterboxd, I realized like I hadn't seen a lot of this, and this one was available for me to hire out. So I was like, so I thought I'll make it. I'll make a note of saying that directed movies are eligible.
Yeah.
In some cases, like Clint Eastwood or Robert Redford, where they've directed a lot of movies, then I will say like, well, for these specific ones, like we'll do a directed by actors only list of each. But yeah, anyway, JPO, what do you say about Wildlife?
I haven't seen it.
Jordan, what do you say about Wildlife?
You want to go find it?
Well, I was gonna say that I like what Chad has, what he's trying to have going on there is like whatever the like topic is. You just put a bunch of stuff in that topic on a shelf. I need a random shelf for that, like the topic shelf or whatever.
I like it. It's like the kill count. I like it.
Yeah. But I haven't seen it, so yeah, it'll be a no.
Yeah, no. I watched it for this. And yeah, it was one of those movies like I didn't expect to love as much as I did, and yeah, I could definitely see like the shades of like the Fablemans, marriage story, and all that in this movie. And I think, and yeah, I agree with Chad. Like Paul Dano really should direct more as well. It's like he did a really good job with this, especially when you're directing people who've probably been in this industry for a long time, like Gyllenhaal and all that, and Kerry Mulligan. So yeah, I think it's such a good movie, and it's going to be used for me. Dan, what do you say about wildlife?
Oh boy, oh boy. All right, hold on. Chad, let's see here. I'm just gonna real quick. Let's see if we can pull this off the shelf here. I can see
got-
it.
That's an entire Criterion shelf. It looks like. So.
Now watch Dan's whole shelf come toppling down. When you
Yeah, let's do
I don't know where.
Yeah.
I just can't for some life of me. It's down here somewhere. It's by Videodrome or something, I think.
Got that.
I can't find it, Chad. I'm sorry. I gotta.
That's okay.
You know
Just
what,
say yes. Okay.
I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not that big a fan of this movie. I own the Criterion. And I saw it in the theater when it came out. And I still bought the Criterion anyway. And I just am not that big of a fan of this movie. And it's not that I didn't want to be a fan. I'm like, oh, okay, it's Paul Dano directing. It's Jake Gyllenhaal. It's Emily. What's her name? Carey Mulligan. And I'm like, okay, this is gonna be something I know I'm gonna like. And then when I watched it, I'm like, what the hell is this? You know, and I just didn't like it that much. And God, I feel bad for Chad because I don't want to vote anything down, but I can't honestly say I vote yes on something if I didn't like it. You know what I mean?
Fair. Yeah.
So I have to say no. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's fair. But JPO, moving on to you, was the next movie you're going to bring up?
All right, I'm also gonna pick a really like small indie film that probably no one saw. The Batman. I don't know if you guys.
I knew you-
Oh, I've never seen it.
What?
Shoot.
It's
I knew
the
I missed some
Batman.
songs.
It's about a guy. His like parents die. It's a revenge tale.
Oh shoot,
Yeah,
sounds,
it's a
Alright.
fun
sounds pretty
one,
good.
though.
I'll check it out.
Get the massive one out there finally.
Did Dano
Hey,
direct that too?
Yeah.
Maybe I had to double check.
Okay. Right.
It's kind of like the pseudonym of Matt Reeves. It's really Paul Dano in a mask.
Like the Richard Bachman, Stephen King.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. No, but actually, I really did dig the Batman here. I was a little trepidatious because I still thought my boy Affleck got screwed. He needed his own solo, which I still like.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen, but I still hold hope every day, and I write letters to WB. But no, I think this is the best Gotham we've ever seen here. It's a different kind of Riddler. I think Dano gives an interesting performance. I think some people are kind of polarized by it, but I liked him in it here, and I really like the world that they set up here, and I'm very excited to return to this Gotham, for the sequel. So the Batman.
Jordan, what do you say about the Batman?
Yeah, well, I think that Ben Affleck got a little bit in the Flash. He got a little bit of like justice, sort of. Like, I mean, he got some cool.
That's a weird way
scenes.
to end it. I don't want that to be the last time we see him in a setup cameo, uncredited. No, he did his own movie.
Yeah, but yeah, the Batman's great. Like, Paul Dano, one of the best Batman villains like almost ever. Like so just haunting and like a really different take. Like, I really like Jim Carrey's version of the Riddler. I appreciate what he did. I'm a big defender of Batman Forever, but I mean, Paul Dano's also really good and just doing it totally differently, but I still really respect it. I thought that it was great. Like it, and yeah, just all around the movie, like you said, like the way that Gotham looks, like the way that the like some of the Batmobile. I think that's like another highlight of it for me. Just like all the different characters. I mean, I think everyone's given like a really lights out a performance here. And yeah, the only thing that I'm not big on that most other people are, I don't love the score for it. Like, people rave about the Batman score, and I'm kind of like I think every other Batman score that's ever been is better than this one.
What?
But that's just me. So I just need something that like stood out a little more for me. But besides that, though, it's great. It's like a 9 out of 10 movie for me. But yeah, so I'll say yes.
Yeah, I'm actually with you on the score. Like, I thought the score was fine. I didn't think it was as good as just some people make it out to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually I enjoyed the Batman. Thought it was a really good movie. Like, I don't think it needed to be 3 hours. I think there was some parts you really could have trimmed down a little bit, and get it to like 2.5, 2 hours 45 minutes or something like that. But and that being said, like, I do like Paul Dano as the Riddler. Riddler's like one of my favorite. Is actually one of my favorite Batman villains, and it's one of those ones like I think part of the reason why I really like him as a villain is because like he's one of those ones which like is more sort of lighter and works better when he is like the lighter in tone, like wacky kind of being like Jim Carrey and that. Like I know they went a little bit dark with him in the Arkham games, but like even then, like he still had that like wacky nature and all that, and that I think they took a lot of. I think Paul Dano's performance took a lot out of it, but I still think it was a really good performance. I do like the movie enough to say yes to it. So
Yeah, that just gave me like a really good idea for Halloween because I've already been Jim Carrey's Riddler for Halloween. I'll have to like find some pictures and post it, but Paul Dano's Riddler could be a cool costume. So, anyway,
I mean, I don't know if you've ever done it, but you could, if you've ever used Jim Carrey in the versus film, but you could do Jim Carrey versus Paul Dano.
yeah, that could actually work. The Battle of the Riddlers, yeah.
Just don't suffocate yourself with all that rap or whatever he puts on himself.
Yeah, right.
But Dan, what do you say about this indie film called The Batman?
Yeah, this little indie film. Yeah, I was hoping someone was going to bring this up. I was going to leave it to somebody else. I did. I could have easily have brought this up myself, and I really intended to. But I was like, you know what? Hell with it. I'm going to champion another film. But yeah, I am a massive, massive fan of this Batman. I think the Zodiac/7 version of Batman is an absolute masterpiece. Matt Reeves' noir tale of the Batman and the Riddler and the whole, all the stuff reminding me so much of Zodiac and 7. It was just like ridiculous. The cinematography, I freaking love the score. I love that it knocks you over the head. It's so great, and I love it. I think Paul Dano was incredible in this movie. The coffee shop scene was amazing. Yeah, I mean, I'm a massive, massive Jim Carrey fan, and I loved his version of Riddler, but I think this is a better version of Riddler. I think this is a more realistic version and take on Riddler, and that's why I liked it much, and I think Paul Dano was incredible in this. So, yes.
And Chad, what do you say about the Batman?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't bring the Batman up because I knew it was bound to come up at some point. You know, it's such a substantial movie, and Paul Dano being like the big villain of it is really cool. And I knew he would do a great job. I got so excited when, you know, they were like, it's going to be Robert Pattinson as Batman. I was like, yes. And then it was like Paul Dano too. I was like, I love both of those actors. That's great. And Matt Reeves, I think, is just a fantastic director. I love his Apes films. I love Let Me In. I don't love Cloverfield, but I do love the Batman. I thought it was like a very great take on the character. I mean, every time they come up with, you know, we're going to do a new Batman movie, I'm like, God, we got enough, don't we? And then they're like, no, but this is a different kind of story. And I think they showed why we needed another one, you know, kind of inspiring hope and stuff like that kind of Batman. I think that was really, really great. And I do think, the realistic take on the Riddler was really cool. I do have a very soft spot, nostalgic spot for Batman Forever and Jim Carrey. But it is cool to see the lighter, fun, comic-y version versus the serial killer Zodiac version that, you know, is very scary and intense. But really cool. And Dano's great in it, and I love this movie. The Batman's great. Yes.
All right, the Batman makes the list. Jordan, we go back to you. What's your next nomination?
So I want to go with one that's kind of like just off the beaten path. It's got a little, like a lot of like random, just like interesting things, interesting humor, interesting, like, I don't know, like it just kind of fits my kind of weirdness because I love things that are just weird and off the beaten path. But I want to go Swiss Army Man. So I think that movie's great. It's directed by the Daniels. I mean, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I mean, come on, they finally got their Oscar, and they deserved it. And yeah, but yeah, just Paul Dano on this island, just like stranded all by himself. But then you throw in Daniel Radcliffe, and it's two actors I think that are making really great choices and like really unique and choices with their careers. Like, and yeah, like just I mean, people call it like the farting corpse a movie, and it might be like really weird for some people, but I really dig it. I really have fun because I mean, what else are you gonna do when you're just stranded on an island? You're gonna like talk to yourself. You're gonna find wacky, weird things to do. I mean, you're gonna try to survive, but at the same time, like you don't want to like go insane. So you kind of act a little insane, and in a weird way, that kind of keeps you sane. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Swiss Army Man.
I mean, A24 in itself does really good at getting these wacky movies
Yeah,
made, and like
killing it.
and I mean, there's a reason they trusted the Daniels enough to do everything all at once. Honestly, because I think it was probably because of this. Like, you know what? People love Swiss Army Man. Like, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, Swiss Army Man was one of those real interesting movies because it really relied on Paul Dano's acting a lot. But he was like essentially carrying the whole thing because basically he was acting by himself, even though Daniel Radcliffe was there. Daniel Radcliffe was basically a corpse the whole movie.
Yep.
So it was like just like Tom Hanks and Wilson's like acting against someone who's really not doing much reacting to what you're doing is really hard. But yeah, I know this movie gets a lot of love. I like it enough, so I'm going to say yes. Dan, what do you say about Swiss Army Man?
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, man. One of the funniest things I've seen in a long time. I mean,
Yeah,
you just Daniel Radcliffe is the farting corpse, and this guy, and they're stranded on an island, and this thing. It's just like, how could this work? But it does work, and you're laughing your ass off the whole time.
yeah.
You just can't believe what you're watching.
Yeah,
You just can't believe what you're watching. But it's some of the funniest stuff. It's like if you're having a bad day and you had an argument with your wife or something happened bad at work, I recommend you watch Swiss Army Man because it will turn your day around because it's the funniest thing you'll see, and you'll just be like, what the hell did I just watch? And I'm laughing my ass off. Yes, for Swiss Army Man.
Yeah.
Chad, what do you say about Swiss Army Man?
Yeah, I really love this movie too. Yes, I'm gonna say yes for sure. I love one of the things that I really love about this is that it is kind of a contained movie, like on an island with Daniel and Paul, and I do think they both do a great job. It's a great like duo kind of thing. I think they have like really good chemistry. It's a very weird concept. A lot of weird shit happens in it, but I think it like really gets into. I think it gets into like a really like great thing about like the idea of them like talking about love and like kind of like how like society kind of represses your idea of like being free and just kind of doing what you want, and society will tell you can't do this because it's weird, and I guess it kind of mirrors the Daniels in a way because they're very weird filmmakers, and we're getting to see some more weird stuff being accepted in popular film and things like that. I love how they use music in this because it's like Paul Dano and I think Daniel Radcliffe too just basically like humming a lot, and they like use that for like part of like the score and the music for the film. There's like a great line. I can't remember the exact line. I tried to look it up before this, but it's like, if you don't love Jurassic Park, you're like a terrible person or something like that. So there's a lot of really great jokes.
Sure.
These two actors have a lot of great chemistry. It's very imaginative and inventive, and it's really, really good and very creative, and I love it. So yes, because I think Paul Dano's great in it.
I can't wait to see what the next project is from the Daniels, like for real.
Yeah.
So,
Wants them to just do like a really straightforward like biopic that's just very
Yeah,
silly.
yeah.
Watch
You're
them
like,
do the
what?
next
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy iteration. Watch this. Watch.
They're gonna do like the next Herbie movie, and people are like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But no, this is a big yes for me. This would have been the next one I had mentioned if it gone back to me. So yeah, I mean, on paper, this movie should not be nowhere near as good as it is. You know, the Farting Corpse movie and whatnot. But man, is this thing just from the get go interesting? Even charming at the end. Chad mentioned I love the humming score that Radcliffe chimed along with. Yeah, man, this movie worked way more than I thought it would, and yeah, I liked it a lot.
So, as from what I can see, the next project that they're doing is they've directed one episode of Star Wars Skeleton Crew, one of the series that's I think it's the next series that's going to be released after Ahsoka. I don't know.
It's the second half of
but
the
yeah.
batch. They split the season into 2 batches, Malcolm, and that's the second batch of the Bad Batch. No pun intended.
Yeah.
No, Skeleton Crew's not related to the Bad Batch at all. It's a different series. It's got
Oh,
good
my
villains
bad.
in it.
My bad, Malcolm.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
Full bad.
Yeah. But anyway, moving on. We've got one spot left. And I'm going to bring up this. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's seen it. Apart from me. But like Dan brought up a movie that that Paul Dano worked with one legend of Robert De Niro. I'm bringing up another one. That another legend he's acted up with is this is Paul Dano and Michael Caine, and you've also got Harvey Keitel in there too. It's a movie called Youth. And basically the plot of the movie is like it's Michael Caine and Harvey Keitel are playing best friends who are reflecting on their lives or holidaying in the Swiss Alps. But it's just one of these ones like sort of like the struggle between age and youth, past and future, and all that. And it's just a really nice movie. And yeah, like Paul Dano's like not a big part in it, but he's like he has a really good role in it. But yeah, I don't know if anyone's seen it, but I thought I'd bring it up because why not? Dan, what do you say about Youth?
That was going to be my next pick if it came back around to me. I didn't think it would come back around to me, Malcolm. I was going to pick Youth because I just look. It's mainly Michael Caine and Harvey Keitel, but they have a bunch of strange, weird, odd characters around it. Then there's this woman who they're at a Swiss resort, and Rachel Weisz comes into these guys' lives, and Paul Dano plays a struggling actor. And this is all this kind of weird stuff that's going on. And it's got an interesting score as well, Chad. This is a very good movie. And that year when it came out, it was really on the brink of possibly getting some Oscar nominations. It just kind of fell by the wayside, I guess. I think it's directed Pablo Sorrentino or whatever.
Yeah.
And this is, if you want to see something different, like off the beaten path with a lot of great actors, I recommend this and say, okay, well, I saw you either liked it or you didn't like it, whatever. It's different. It's not like your normal kind of thing that you would normally see. And sometimes when you get these European directors, you don't know what the heck you're going to get with these. And it's just like English language directed by a foreign film director. So it's kind of a little bit different, but yeah, I was going to recommend this next, Malcolm. So it's interesting that you brought it up. So that's 2 votes for it. Let's see if anybody has seen it.
Chad, what do you say about Youth?
I mean, it got a Best Original Song nomination, apparently.
I told you, I thought it was.
But no, I haven't seen this one. But we are reaching, basically exhausting my list a little bit. So I'll give it a blind yes because I mean I looked up the reviews and Malcolm, saying giving high praise to it. So I'll give it a blind yes because even though I haven't seen it, it feels like something worthwhile that I kind of want to check out.
JPO, what would you have said about Youth?
I haven't seen it.
And Jordan, have you seen Youth?
Well, I have not, but I was just reading the synopsis. It says Fred, a retired composer and conductor, vacation in a Swiss spa a long time for, and then I fell asleep. I'm like, no, thank you, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean,
That just
I
sounds
will say it's
boring to
definitely
me.
not a Jordan movie.
But also,
I mean-
it says that it has graphic nudity, and I kind of perked up a little. So
Yeah, but you don't want to see a bunch of old man nudity, do you?
No, there's the
old-
one scene with the
oh,
one girl.
like
remember?
old
I'm
man.
joking.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
I haven't seen the movie,
Michael
but I've
Caine,
seen
then
one scene.
I'm joking.
But with that Chad's blindness does close out the list. And so on the list we've got Little Miss Sunshine, Love and Mercy, Prisoners, There Will Be Blood, 12 Years a Slave, Ruby Sparks, Looper, Okja, The Fablemans, The Batman, and Swiss Army Man, and Youth. Dan,
we
what
have
did you have any on?
Private Chat,
Did you have
Batman,
any
Swiss Army Man, Swiss Army Man again, and Youth.
No, I don't actually. I think you guys have literally exhausted everything I probably would have even thought about to bring up. If you guys have honorable mentions, more power to you.
Chad, did you have any honorable mentions?
So it's kind of like this. Like I was saying, I made a list, and the list looked exactly how our list looks, except for Wildlife is on my list and Youth is not. And I think that's pretty much the same exact list that I made. So I do think there's like a core slate of Dano films, although I have been meaning to check out, and I think it's a very small part of it, Where the Wild Things Are, stuff like that. So, I might
right.
I really need to see some more Dano films, because like I said, I love him, but I haven't seen his entire filmography. So
That is fantastic, Chad. Where the Wild Things Are is fantastic. I forgot all about that. That's right.
The only other movie I would have said no to. Not a fan.
all right.
I love it.
JPO, did you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, I mean, if we had kept going, I would have thrown out. I actually enjoyed Night and Day. I think it's a fun Tom Cruise flick. Again, not top, but if we had kept going, it's towards a 12 here. Where the Wild Things Are, I definitely would have talked about it as well. I don't know how big his voice thing is in that, but I actually dig the film. I like the whimsy of it and Spike Jonze. And then again, another one. I don't think he's in it much. Where's my voice? Taking Woodstock, I really enjoy as well with the comic Dimitri Martin.
Jordan, did you have any honorable mentions?
The only ones I would have said is I would have been with you on Night and Day. I think that movie's like good. I'm not going to say it's like amazing, but it's still fun. And then also like this is just a total guilty pleasure. I know it's a bad movie, but I kind of like Cowboys and Aliens, and he's in that, so it's like a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would have like if Night and Day, Where the Wild Things Are, and Cowboys and Aliens came up, I probably would have suggested like I kind of enjoy them.
Yeah,
but
It's all
like,
Chad's fault because then it would have been in Chad.
yeah.
But like the other but I did watch two other movies for this. Like I watched a movie called Meek's Cutoff, which is a western.
Oh yeah.
Like I enjoyed that enough. It's not one I'm probably going to revisit. And then I watched a movie called The Guilty with Jake Gyllenhaal. But Paul Dano was literally a really small part of it. Like it was probably close to cameo. But he was because it's basically Jake Gyllenhaal talking to a whole lot of voices. And one of them was Paul Dano, and I don't know how much of the movie he actually appeared in throughout it. But yeah,
Well, he appeared in none. Get it?
Yeah.
What is something that's come up in the chat here?
Yeah, Meek's Cutoff is a good Western. Absolutely. It might pop up in our Western lists on Friday. I don't know what Austin has got for us on Friday.
Everything you said.
On that on Friday, it's Westerns bracket. We're doing the Westerns bracket Friday. If you guys want to do, come on.
Yeah, we got a couple of spots. So.
Something that mentioned in the chat is Fast Food Nation that Brian brought up.
Not good enough to make the list.
Then Leo brings up the Emperor's Club and the Ballad of Jack and Rose.
Was he in that? Much. Did Dano ever play any animated voices in anything?
Oh, he was something. I think there was one.
Well,
right?
I mean, there was the movie. As I said, he was basically a voice in the movie.
Technically. But he's an
Yeah.
animated,
But he hasn't been in an animated movie, so
That's weird. You'd think you would have been in one by now.
Was in like something that looked animated. That's a like TV series called Pantheon. I don't know what it is, but it's an AMC
but
Plus
movie wise, no. The only thing would be closest is The Guilty.
Yeah.
And Where the Wild Things Are, actually. We forgot that too.
yeah,
That's probably the closest animated because that is
All right,
pretty
well, let's get this daddy rolling.
But
Yeah,
Dan,
the
what do you have for 12?
I told you guys.
Jordan, you know what to do here.
Yeah.
Dad, what do you have
I know what to
at
do.
12?
I love everything on the list except for the one I haven't seen, Youth.
JPO, what do you have at 12?
Youth.
Yep.
Fine.
Jordan, what do you have at 12?
Let's go with Youth.
But I also went Looper, but Youth is going to be at 12.
Let's get somebody to go for Looper the next round.
But anyway,
Chad, you're up.
Yeah, I mean, I know everybody's going to be gunning for it, even though I do think this is a great movie, but I understand Paul Dano's a small part of it. I'll say Looper's fine at 11.
JPO,
Oakjaw.
Jordan,
I got to go with the ones I haven't seen. So Ruby Sparks.
Looper,
Ooh, okay.
and Looper is going to be at 11.
Looper.
JPO is up, right?
Yep.
Oakjaw.
Jordan,
I got Ruby Sparks still.
Okja, Dan,
Ruby Sparks.
Chad,
Do I go Oakjaw or Rubik Sparks? Oakjaw.
Oh, come on. Well, you nominated Ruby Sparks. So
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's why he wasn't going to vote for Ruby
yeah.
this early. There's a little bit of politics in this.
Yeah.
Well, no, just going by your heart. It's a good
Yeah.
feeling.
yeah.
Jordan, you're
That's
up.
me first. Yeah. So I still got Ruby Sparks.
But yeah, I also went Ruby Sparks, Dan,
Ruby Sparks.
Chad,
Yeah, I agree. A lot of great movies on here, but Rubik Sparks is fine at 10.
and JPO.
Love and Mercy.
What?
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not as high as Ruby Sparks. I really like Ruby Sparks.
Nice.
Malcolm, you put Swiss Army Man on the list twice, by the way.
No, Chad put it there once.
It's that good, man.
Oh,
Chad did.
I just I had it written out. I just didn't press enter. Then I saw Chad, but it's like I'm just going to hit enter because why not?
okay. All right, no problem.
But
Malcolm's up.
yeah, I know.
JPO.
I was busy
I know,
rolling my board. But I've got Swiss Army Man at 8.
Swiss Army Man. Swiss Army Man. You can barely see it there.
Chad.
He's so good in Swift's Army, man. I can't say it. I'm a good 12 years a slave because he's a small part in it.
The marker's running out.
JPO.
Love and Mercy.
And Jordan.
It's gonna be a fight to the death for me, but the Fablemans.
All right, two votes, Malcolm. We got it.
But Swiss Army Man is going to be at 8.
All right, back to me, right?
Yeah.
I'll go with the Fablemans.
Chad.
It's a very small part of it. I'm sticking with 12 years right now.
JPO.
Love and Mercy.
Jordan.
The Fablemans.
And I went Prisoners, but the Fablemans is going to be
All right.
second.
Now what to do?
I'm gonna. I
Jeez.
think I'm gonna go. I got it here. I got it here.
Chad, what do you have for 6?
I'm gonna stick with it because he's just such a small part. I think he's great in everything, though.
JPO.
Love and Mercy.
Jordan.
I'll go with 12 Years a Slave. It's tough, but
I'm sticking with Prisoners. Dan.
I picked 12 Years a Slave, but I'm actually gonna agree with Chad on this one.
Yeah, that's the only reason because it's a fantastic movie. I'm not shitting on the movie at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
that's why I agree with you on that. I think 6 is a good spot for it.
Yeah. Top 5. This is so tough.
no. Yeah.
Just to
you go
recap what
We can go ahead.
just recap what's left. We've got Little Miss Sunshine, Love and Mercy, Prisoners, There Will Be Blood, and The Batman left. JPO, what do you have for 5?
It's hard to know.
Love and Mercy.
Jordan.
Oh, frick. I'll just go with Prisoners. I don't know.
No.
I'm sticking with Prisoners.
No.
Dan also went Prisoners.
Because I wasn't sure if I should go with the better
Yeah.
movie or the better performance. So
Movies.
Yeah.
It's called top 10, 12 Dano for movies. Not called for
Prisoners actually really makes me sad. I fucking love that movie. I went
It
there with
does.
Could we do? Oh, like, can I do this on my own to scroll this list down so I can check? Oh, there we go. Okay, all right, I got it. So we got 4 left.
Love and Mercy,
Yeah.
There Will Be Blood, Batman, Little Miss Sunshine.
All right, JPO. All right, JPO.
But Jordan, what do you have at 4?
I have Little Miss Sunshine.
I've got There Will Be Blood. Dan.
I went with Love and Mercy.
Chad.
There Will Be Blood. I'll stick with.
Oh, we got a tie. Malcolm's the
JPO.
tiebreaker.
Hold on.
Oh, JPO's the tiebreaker.
I'm gonna be strategic and not show my board and say There Will Be Blood.
Oh, all right,
That way there's no qualms.
Okay.
all right.
Is that allowed? That's
Uh-huh.
fine.
Oh, I mean,
I don't care.
if you wanted to avoid a tie,
Sure. Yeah.
Wow, we got. Oh, I like what we got left.
I
here.
mean, maybe because he knew how you would have gone. I don't know.
Yeah.
Saving some time.
Yeah.
They're about even for me.
All right, so it's you, Malcolm, right?
Yep, and I'm going to go Love and Mercy.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
I got
Dan,
Love and Mercy. I got Love and Mercy.
Chad,
The Batman.
JPO.
Love and Mercy.
Man, you got it that high in Little Miss Sunshine? Come on.
Fuck
It's
yeah.
not like the best
Yeah.
thing in the world.
So it's down to the
Best in
winner
this
now,
list.
right? We're voting for the winner, either Little Miss
Yep.
Sunshine or the Batman.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yep.
Gee.
You're on an island, Jordan.
Yeah, I think it's an average movie. Like it's average.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
Best Picture nominated.
He also hates Oppenheimer. I just want to throw that out there.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
hate it. I'm
You're
just bored by
You're
it.
not. You're not.
Sorry.
Too many like people talking in rooms about nothing.
Yeah, but the stuff.
I
they're
know. I
talking
hate
about-
actors writing
Bomb,
great
bomb.
right actors saying great dialogue. Too much. Too much
Great,
of that.
great
acting
dialogue. You show me some. Great
Anyway, you know
dialogue.
who isn't in Oppenheimer? Paul Dano. Chad, what was
Yeah.
your number one Paul Dano movie?
Right, could have
Number
made the
one.
movie better.
My number 1 is Little Miss Sunshine.
JPO.
Where's Rachel? She's watching Little Miss Sunshine.
Number 1, like I think that movie barely skirts on this list.
Jordan.
You're high as a kite.
Little Miss Sunshine.
Oh.
Dan.
Little Miss Sunshine.
Yes, I'm on
Oh,
an island.
Right up
yeah.
there. So there
It's
you
a movie
go.
about a family on a road trip. That's
Yep.
Come on.
How can you say that like that's a so what? It's a great family on a great
The
road
stuff
trip.
that they
I
do.
mean-
That's a
That
weird
is
shit talk.
It's
But
the
whenever I put a
craziness
road
that
trip movie,
ensues.
probably at a number one of anything. That's just me. Like I said.
I mean,
No,
mean,
that's
Jordan,
not
one of your
true. In
favorite movies
cinema, you could take a man taking a shit on at a gas station, and if it's a great movie, it's a great movie. Like, who
Well,
cares with the
you
Good
haven't
point.
had any great ones about that, unless you say
no,
Dumb
if you
and
think it's
Dumber.
not
I
great,
mean-
it's true. But I'm just saying for you to say like,
Yeah.
road trip, push on. What?
I don't know.
I mean,
yeah.
I
Just
mean,
me,
Jordan,
you
one of your
know.
favorite movies is about a family on a road trip, National Lampoon's Vacation.
Yeah, but even so, I wouldn't.
It's not nearly half as good as the Sunshine.
Like you would have to put that on a very specific list for me to vote that like number one of a list. Though.
Yeah, man, road trips just don't do it for me, man.
I mean, it's one of those ones. Each their own. Like,
Like on my own road trip, that does it for me. That's about it.
But anyway, that brings us to the end. Our top 12 Paul Dano movies is at number 12. We've got Youth. At 11, we've got Looper. At 10, we've got Okja. At 9, we've got Ruby Sparks. At 8, we've got Swiss Army Man. At 7, we've got The Fabelmans. At 6, we've got 12 Years a Slave. At 5, we've got Prisoners. At 4, we've got There Will Be Blood. At 3, we got Love and Mercy. At 2, we got The Batman. And number 1, we got Little Miss Sunshine. But
Yeah, you should do that because, like, you mean to tell me that like his performance as like a random brother, it's better than like the Riddler.
Why do you
or
keep
better
saying
than, like,
random though?
There will be
As a
brother
random
or
brother,
blood.
what?
Yeah, like he's just like some random brother. Like that's what he is. Like
All
he's
right.
not, like
Jordan
not a main
versus
character.
He's just a
He's
random
brother.
Riddler.
Right
He's
now.
just a random guy that's hanging out with the
Yeah,
court.
That's not
He's a random guy
Riddler,
that might
though.
have kidnapped a kid. Why are you
Swiss
throwing
Army Man
random in
could be
there?
considered random. That one could be, but like Riddler, that's like a prominent character. You know.
Well, also, again, we're also voting on movies for the second time. I would say he's in it. He shows more range probably in that.
Yeah.
yeah.
What the vote is,
But
right?
yeah.
Malcolm?
But anyway, that is the end of ranking for another week. Next
Oh,
week,
this is not movie Battleground? My bad. I was debating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next
there.
week's topic is going to be top 12 Burt Rodriguez
movies.
movies.
He teased my heart.
Yeah.
Put Schneider back on the pole. Schneider was robbed.
I think I say Rob Zombie movies.
What is it though next week, Malcolm? I didn't hear you.
Robert
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez. Robert,
Has he done 12? Yeah, I guess so.
he's
Half
done
of
12.
them
He's
are
at least
movies.
he's at least at 20 movies.
That's
So.
true.
If you
He's
count
got
the
like
8,
10 Spy Kids movies.
yeah.
Where will
Yeah,
Hypnotic
that's
rank? Tune in next week to find out.
But yeah, that's next week. But Dan, we can view on you online.
Well, you can find me at my name, Dan Skip Allen, on Facebook and Instagram and X, but I'm not really doing a whole lot on X. I'm still debating whether I'm going to cancel that or not. Also, Letterboxd, DP Skip Allen or Dan Skip Allen on any of these kinds of socials. Also, I'm a film critic in Orlando, Florida. I write for my own website called FromTheFourthRow.com. And I write for another website called disappointmentmedia.com. Also, I'm in the midst of my my life 50 years in film, where I revisit all the years of my existence, and I talk about my favorite films. I do a review of each film on my website in 10-year increments, and then also I rank all the films of all the years on my letterbox, and then I put those links into my letterbox. And then we're doing companion videos where it wouldn't be fun for me to just be on a video by myself talking about my favorite films. So I get some buddies of mine and I'm doing like I do the other ones, 10-year increments. And October 20th, I'll have Chad and Dylan on there doing 10 years. And so I look forward to that one coming up. Also, I've been on Chad's show a few times. Hopefully they'll get me back soon. Called Picture This, where we revisit the Academy Awards, and I've done all three of the Godfather years, 72, 74, and 90, also 1980. Also, I'm a award show pundit, and Malcolm and I do a show called Gone with the Wind. The new episode will be up tomorrow. We're going to be talking about a little bit of best supporting categories. Plus, we might have some breaking news regarding the strikes that are going on right now with the WGA and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I've been hearing stuff about it. Yeah.
Also, I forgot to say this on the last time I was on. My buddies over at Chasing Labels, they do what's called the Unwatched Pile, where we take a movie that we haven't watched, that we own, a Blu-ray, a 4K, and then we watch it, and then we pair it with another movie. And I was on their July episode, and it was I had To Live and Die in L.A., and I paired it with The French Connection in honor of William Friedkin, who had just passed away. So if you feel like going and watch, it's on Chasing Labels YouTube channel, and they have a great podcast about physical media if you're into that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Chad, we can be on you online.
Yeah, also my name, check out Chadwick Webb YouTube channel where we rank a lot of stuff. We also have been doing, like, I've been trying to do more reviews. So, like, especially my wife, Carrie, and I have been doing our, like, 61 Days of Halloween reviews. So we reviewed the first 10 movies we watched for that. So mostly horror stuff. Sometimes we'll squeak in, like, just like a fun Halloween movie that's not really horror. But it is what it is. And then check out the Dill Pickle Movie Network, where we do Picture This, and it's basically we're going through and watching everything that was nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. We have a lot of fun there. We're doing this month we're doing 1929/1930. That's how they used to label them back then. We're doing a lot of classics coming up because we're ridiculously low on that. Also check out the Nerd Entertainment Network, where my buddy Hunter, my wife Carrie, and myself have a show called Welcome to Primetime, where we talk horror movies a lot. We rank episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Recently we've had JPO on. We did a fun thing with him where he sent us his top 64 horror movies, and we did a bracket. Speaking of that, we've been doing other brackets. Trying to figure out what's the greatest horror movie of all time. So, we've been doing that bracket style going through each decade of horror. And JPO might be on to rank some Buffy stuff with us and to talk Buffy soon as well. Check out my letterbox. Check out Clear Eyes Full Heart reviews.wordpress.com. Whenever I post stuff over there, it's been slow going, but sometimes I get to it. But yeah, check all that stuff out. And thank you very much. I love Rankum. This was fun.
JPO, we can view on you online.
Yeah, you can find me and my shenanigans over at the Peersco. We had some fun over there. We do some trivia. Thursday, we just settled on for a themed episode called the Razzies Edition, where I'm just asked questions about shitty movies. I believe Malcolm signed up for that. And then we do normal ASATs throughout the week as well as picks and lists. Clips. We do sometimes we'll do drafts. We'll do all sorts of little fun movie stuff over there. And also for similar stuff, but for pro wrestling, Pierce Wrestling Channel, we also have a lot of fun over there as well.
Jordan, we can view on you online.
You can find me on all the social medias at Movie Hero 2121 or at my personal socials is Jordan83616, and over in the Schwinn on Friends and Family group running that. So if you have any projects you're working on, anything you want to promote, like we'll share it out. We'll tell people to subscribe. We're just a big family over there, so come share to your heart's content over there. I will have a video kind of documenting my experience at Salt Lake Fan X that I went to last year. That was really, really cool. I met a couple, like you can kind of see, like here's me and Michael J. Fox, one of my absolute heroes, in acting, my favorite actor, just hanging out there.
Don't you mean last week?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this last
no, I was about to say you said last. You said last.
Wasn't it this past weekend?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, last week.
Well,
yeah.
I was like last year. I've been inundated with photos for this for days now. What are you talking about?
I didn't know I said that, but I'm only going to share 3. There's the cast of Cobra Kai. There's that one.
Whoa, wait a minute, Jordan. You met the cast of... Dude, so did I. I met the cast of Cobra Kai.
You met him too, yeah. Nice. Oh, that's awesome.
I didn't photo myself over you at all.
Of course not. And then me and Shamik.
I mean, it's amazing they did the exact same pose in both pictures.
But
it's crazy.
Yeah, That's hilarious, JPO, though. Yeah, it's good stuff. But yeah. And then I'll just tell what we have coming up for this week. We're going to be doing our 100th episode of Tier Ranker Fights. So Austin went through and he pulled like a little over 100 and something of our top 3. I think he did like 130 something of our top 3 of unique movies that have made all of our top 10s over the years. So we'll be talking that, and then we'll be doing best westerns, which Dan will be a part of. He'll be on that one, talking about westerns. And if there's anyone else who would like to be on that, we do have a couple of spots open because I'm going to be out of town. I got my 20th high school reunion, so I can go feel old there with a bunch of people there. And yeah, we'll be doing best movies of 2007 next week too. So that's kind of what's going on with the channel.
Malcolm, where can we find you?
And yeah, you can. I mean, you can find me next week on the Letter Series Tournament Fights, talking about movies of 2007.
Yeah,
so you can also find me.
Probably JPO will be there for one of those, maybe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I like those yearly ones.
Yeah.
And you can also find me on Take Few Productions, talking about Robert Rodriguez movies next Sunday, and yeah, and I'm also competing on the PSCO on the ASAT Razzies thing, and I'll be taking on Austin. I can't remember who else is in.
Yeah, Bez will be on that shitty show. Well, not a shitty show, but about shitty movies.
That'll be a fun one. What day is that? The Razzie?
Thursday. We got 2 more spots, I believe.
Thursday.
Oh, well, I'll have to think about the one. I'll be back home Thursday, but I'll be in touch. I'll let you know.
I'll be booking. It was fun.
Yeah. We're trying to book it for 3 weeks. We finally got a date. Yeah.
But and you can also find me all over the place. Like I do host Formula Singles there. I know I've been pretty slack with uploading those matches. I plan on getting one out this week, and then next the episode 2 of Racketeers will probably be out. Will probably be in a couple of weeks. I'll get more information when we get close to that time. But yeah, and it'll be and the topic will be part 2 of movies that most appeared on Rankum. And yeah, so until next time, just
keep ranking shit.
Yeah, keep ranking shit. Whatever.
Drop the mic.
Chat.